mentioned, I myself am a lesbian empty nester, okay? I have 22-year-old twin boys. Now, before I was a lesbian empty nester, I was a lesbian soccer mom. And before that, I was happy. It's all different now. You guys probably noticed too, I am biracial. I am 1/2 Japanese, 1/4 German, and 1/4 Swedish. I am like sashimi with a side of schnitzel, okay? I am Asian, but sadly, I am just white enough to be aging poorly. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. Hey, did you guys hear about RFK Jr. had a worm in his brain? Like, I just picture that worm just like sitting up there going, that's good amygdala, you know? Like, I'm gonna try a little cerebellum now. And he also has AFib, he has a heart condition. He also has mercury poisoning from eating too many tuna fish sandwiches. And he also has this condition in his brain that causes his vocal cords to spasm, so it sounds like he's been gargling with nail polish remover. Now, I mean, sure, he's in great condition to be president, I guess, but like my only concern is he better not make friends with Kristi Noem, because I think she might decide that it's time for him to go out to the gravel pit, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that guy has a lot of problems, a lot of issues. So my partner and I, we just celebrated a big anniversary. We have been together for 30 years. Yeah, somebody put up with this shit for 3 decades. It's hard to believe, I know. If you were to meet Susan, which you can, she's in the back there, you would think, like, she is the nicest person. She does not possess a mean bone in her body. And I am entirely made up of mean bones, just like from head to toe. So we are a little bit of an odd couple. We are very different in another way. Like Nishi's husband, my partner is a very white lady. Susan is all of the Sherwin-Williams paint chips of white. She is wedding dress, she is adobe, she is gypsum, she is Episcopalian, that's the big one. She's a big wasp, you know, big Pennsylvania wasp. But it turned out that it kind of worked out okay, because Susan is what we in the gay community refer to as a rice queen. Maybe some of you know what that is. You could probably figure it out. It means she has an Asian fetish. Okay? Now, as I mentioned, it did work out because it turns out I myself, hard to admit, have a little bit of a colonizer kink. You know? So Susan comes home, and like Nishi, we do a little John Smith and Pocahontas, you know? And I'll go, you think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. Where are my Disney adults at? We are not that far from Anaheim. Come on now. Now, can anybody name for me who voiced John Smith in the 1992 animated classic Pocahontas? Mel Gibson, that icon of diversity, inclusion, and equity. I love the Jews, yeah. He played a white guy who drug a Native American woman off to England. I don't think it was a stretch, you guys. I don't think it was a stretch. Now, my partner and I, we actually went through 5 IVFs in order to get our kids. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot of money, is what it was. Because that is not covered. Like, none of it is covered. And it did make explaining the birds and the bees a little more complicated, okay? I was like, come here, boys. Sit down. Mommy has something important to talk to you about. Now, when 2 women love each other very much, they spend their entire retirement account on a reproductive endocrinologist. Okay? Now, we did go through a known donor. When we started looking through the directories of DNA, we realized that none of that information is vetted. It's all self-reported. So somebody could write down Stanford. Is that the one in Palo Alto or the trucking school in Newhall? We thought it was an important distinction to make. And as a matter of fact, we had a couple of leftover embryos, over in cold storage. And, we could be prosecuted in Alabama because we got rid of those faster than Christy Nome got rid of her dog Cricket. Because we didn't want to pay the storage fees. Now, I was offered the chance to donate those embryos to an infertile couple, but look at me. I mean, doesn't that seem kind of mean? Seriously? You're expecting some cute little biracial baby and you get this big-headed, giant person, I just thought it was just a little too mean. Now, the other thing you might assume, and I'm going to keep it PG, is that, I'm a lesbian, I have twin boys, 2 boys. Now, what difference is the whole Roe v. Wade abortion rights business? What does that matter to me? I don't have any skin in the game. And that is where you'd be wrong, because you want to know where my son asked us to send him for spring break this year? Fort Lauderdale. Now, what do you think he had in mind to do in Florida? See a manatee IRL? Appreciate the grandeur of the Everglades? No, he's chasing redneck tail on the beach, okay? That's what he was doing. So I sat him down and I said, listen, Tadashi, if you think that I am going to pay for some redneck Riviera chippy to fly out to California to take care of the problem, you got another thing coming. I would absolutely do that. I would fly her out first class. I'd put her up at the Four Seasons. I'd get her Nobu reservations. She has to promise to take care of the issue, though. I mean, I love my son. He is a tremendous, yummy, yummy young man, but he could not keep 3 pot plants alive last summer. I don't think he's ready for fatherhood. I don't. And I just have to, wonder. I mean, it does make me wonder, okay? Because, for example, if men could get pregnant, how they're trying to eliminate access to mifepristone, which is the morning after drug. It's if men could get pregnant, do you seriously think there wouldn't be Cool Ranch mifepristone available? Or Arctic Blast mifepristone? My son went to Coachella for 2 weekends. You don't think he'd be buying beer from the Bud Light Now with mifepristone booth? Absolutely. And we did go through a lot having our kids. When we ended up transferring the embryos, we were very conservative because I am not Octomom. I was not interested in any of that. So they transferred 3 eggs. 1 was good. 2 were mid, as the young people like to say. The 2 were not that great. But honestly, the unthinkable happened after that, is that 2 of the embryos actually split. So I was pregnant with a basketball team. I had 5, And so I had to undergo something called a selective reduction, which is just a really, really precise abortion, which I maybe wouldn't have access to in some other places. But we had to do it because all of us would have been dead. I wouldn't have survived. They certainly wouldn't have survived. And it's so hard to do something like that when it's completely antithetical to what you're trying to accomplish. So hard. And I'm haunted to this day. I felt truly bad and guilty about it. And I have this obsessive thought. And the thought is, I don't know if the doctor really picked the best 2 to stay in there. I mean, are those 2 my best work? They're not even gay, ma'am. They're not even gay. I thought 1 could do my hair, 1 could do my makeup. I'm just a bitter woman. I'm a bitter woman. Anyway, you guys have been tremendous. Thank you so much for listening.